What's up, my Yu-Gi-Oh community? This is Roberto in the Yu-Gi-Oh Sports Center, and I got my boy Bradley Wallace here, who just took fourth place at Kissimmee Regional with over 430 people, some killers out there. Bradley, tell them what you played, my boy.
So I played like a Rikka, Sun Evelyn, Therion deck. So I played the deck for only about a week. My first 3 days, I just didn't know how to play the deck. On the fourth day, I don't know what clicked, but I started learning the combos, getting really intricate with the gameplay and the game style that it takes to play it. So I just decided to play it. I don't think this is my most optimized way to play it, at least after the testing that I had. The side deck is definitely going to change, and then we can talk about some of the other changes towards the end of the video.
So only a week, and you got fourth place?
Yes.
A week? Dang.
So I will say I play against great players at my locals. You know, obviously we got Jeremy, we got Santino, we got Ilya, we got Joseph, we got a lot of other good players. So I had a good grasp of what most decks did and how to interact with them just based on losing at locals.
Okay, before we jump into the video, give them a rundown of some of the mat rounds you played. Would you win 8-1 out of 9 rounds?
Yeah, I went 8-1. So I guess I'll start off with my loss. I lost against Sprite. We went to game 3 and close in the time. He did the burn play where he targeted Fenrir, gained 2,400. During my turn, I broke his whole board apart. But again, me being new to the deck, I didn't realize if I see one of my starters, which I play like 9 or 12 of them, that I could have gained 2,000 life and I already did 500 damage. So that's where I lost there. This deck worst matchup is like pure set 5 decks in Runic. Luckily I dodged Runic, but I played against 2 Labyrinth, and those are 2 O's, both of those. I played against 2 Trap Tricks. One of those went to game 3. I played against 3 Cash. I played against Brian. Shout out to Brian. But he bricked. We went to game 3, I believe. And then I can't think of the other matchups. I really played every deck other than Runic for the most part.
And what was your toughest matchup, you think, for the deck?
For the deck, definitely Sprite, because they have the layered interruptions. They have the back row, which my deck can't beat. They have the monster Omni negate, spell and trap card negate if they get rolling. I think if I had played against, no offense, slightly better Labyrinth players, and knew how my deck interacted, that's definitely my toughest matchup. And then Runic is pretty tough, just due to the nature of them being all spell and trap cards, no monsters, for the most part, unless they make a board.
All right, man. Well, without further ado, let's give the people what they want, Bradley.
Yeah, so in theory, when I was building the deck, I was like, I want my deck to be able to open a bunch of, like, two ways to get to a 1-card starter, an extender, and 2 ways to, like, go second. So I played a bunch of 1-card starters. This is Lone Fire. This gets you to, you distribute a plant monster. And when Rikka Con is on the field, you contribute your opponent's monster as well. And this is a 1-card starter. So it gets you to any of these. You got to, excuse me on the names. I don't know how to pronounce most of these. This is the Sunseed Genius Loki. This is the best next to Lone Fire, your best 1-card starter. So when I was saying I want to change some things, I don't know if I should make this the focus of the deck and put Rikka as the second engine. Just because this gets you to your Rikka, and it gets you to a Therion negate, and it gets you to a skill drain, and it gets you to a snatch and steal, monster negate, a pop. So I don't know if I want to go that far into it or not. This is Petal. This is another starter. This card is really, really good. It gets me into all of my engines and gets me into the Loki, but it does restrict me into plants early into the combo. So that's why I was like, this is a superior starter. This card also recycles itself every turn during your opponent's end phase if you only control plants or no monsters. So that's really the heart and soul of the deck, are these 7 cards. And they're really, really good. I mean, the problem a lot of people had is they were stopping the deck late. You know, you don't want to stop the normal summon because of the extenders, but my normal summons get an extender that gets 2 more centers, they get another extender. So kind of some of the breaks. We have Laura, if I said that right, Arrow Mage. So this is somewhat of a break and an extender. If you draw it, it does allow you to search another plant and it can summon itself throughout the combo. But it's only if you're able to start playing is this actually an extender. This can also be an extender in some hands, but you don't want to draw this card at all. This card, when it's summoned off of the Sunvine Sowing, allows you to special one from Grave, the Loki card. So hypothetically, if you did the combo without normal summoning, you can still normal summon this and get an extra body. But I mean, you really don't want to draw it. And then we're gonna get into some of the Rikka cards. So I played 2 Primula. So this is a part of the deck that I didn't fully understand why this card was good. It does do level manipulation, which rarely ever comes up. It only comes up if you have a Muddin, because it can change it up to 2, I believe. Where is it exactly? 2. I'm sorry, just gonna make sure. Yes, up to 2. So that level manipulation is the only time it comes up. What it really comes up at is when you're tributing your cards. It allows you to special summon yourself itself. So sometimes what I was doing, and you'll see it earlier, Glamour, I would tribute my plant monster, search these 2 cards, and be able to start comboing and have a negate while I'm comboing. So that's why that's really good. This is Princess. Princess is really, really good. Princess allows me to have a negate. It also special summons itself if I control nothing but plants or no monsters. And this is a negate from hand or from graveyard. The only thing I don't like about this, it does conflict. This does conflict with the Therion engine. So a lot of the times I'll hold this in hand if I'm going the Therion route. Because you can't summon anything but plants while it's on the field. There are some combo hands if you draw this plus sowing where you can still full combo. But yeah, it's really intricate. I don't want to say the heart and soul because I'm gonna say that about every card. Muddin. So Muddin is broken. So this card is really, really good. It allows me to get to any of my Rikka spell and trap cards by tributing a monster. And special summoning it into triggers. What's important for this is a lot of my matchups, the cash players were playing Lance. And it allowed me to be able to extend past if they're underneath Lance to get to certain outs. Then we have this card here. I really don't like this card. Sometimes I want to play 2 of it. What it allows you to do is Sundrop. What it allows you to do is when you tribute a special a plant from hand. So, excuse me, you do have to have a plant in hand and summon it. And then it does level manipulate it by targeting a plant monster. So it does get you to your level 8s and your level 4s. This is why I wanted to bump it up to an 8. Because there are times in the game when you went through your level 1s, you went through your level 4s, and you don't have another level 6 to search. You want to be able to get to this and this through Glamour. So that's why I wanted to bump this up. There aren't any other level 8s that could have level 8s. So the Therion engine may go up in itself. So we do have the Therion engine. The Therion engine is really, really good. It gives me my negate. It helps some of my worst matchups. So there are some hand combos where you lock yourself early, where you're able to get this into grave. You can still summon this, and you still have a negate up to play through some of your worst matchups. So that's pretty much the plant engine. I still don't know if I want to add in different extenders. I'm still going to play with some lists. I do want to try a Trap Trace version. I do want to try more of a Sun Avalon, and then I do want to cut the Rikka stuff as well. So I got a lot of testing to do. And then the last hand trap I played in the main was Ash. So Cash isn't really a bad matchup, but they don't lock you out of your extra deck. And I wanted, knowing I was going to a regional, I knew I wasn't going to play against a lot of Cash. It was going to be a bunch of stuff. And I played against Brandon. That was the last deck I played against. Last 2 decks I played against. I just wanted to be able to cover a wide spectrum of things and have my side deck from some of the more blowout matchups. So that's why I played that card. And then getting into the spell cards. So this is the card that you're searching off of the Sunvine Link 1. This card is really, really good. It starts all of your combos. So you pay 1,000 life points, and then you're able to special summon one of the Sun Seeds. If you have the Link 1, you can special summon the other card. That's it with a brick. What's important about this card is that it does lock you into plants from your extra deck, which, I mean, your whole extra deck is plants, but you can't, extend past that other than plants. It also has a protection effect on my Link monsters. So they will be destroyed. You can banish it as a replacement effect.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that came up a couple times as well.
A lot of people probably forget that it does that.
Yeah, so this is part of the extenders that allow you to not use your normal summon. With the new combo I'm working on, that's really the heart and soul. You really want to see these cards. This lets you special summon the Loki. If you control no monsters, this is 1-for-1. It gets you to Loki or the other that you need. Really good, really good. I mean, like I said, my whole purpose of my deck was to always be able to play and just kind of draw going second cards as well. Getting into the field spells, we have the Therion field spell. Really good. Searches, protects, recycles. It usually doesn't stay up for more than a turn in most scenarios because this card is infinitely better. This is probably the best card in my deck, and the reason why the deck is good. So Conk does a couple of different things for the deck. Layered interruptions. So instead of tributing my cards, I can tribute my opponent's cards as well as it lets me get to any of my Rikka spell and trap cards if I control a Rikka. The only downside is it locks me into plants. So I have to remember that this Snowdrop and the Petal locks you into plants. So that's the whole spell lineup as far as engine. The most important card, Glamour. This card is probably one of the best searchers in the game. So what it allows me to do is tribute I can activate it just to Rhoda, but if I tribute a monster, it'll allow me to search two plant monsters with the same level, essentially, one Rikka and one plant. What's important about this card is if I have Conk up, I can tribute my opponent's monster and get a search too.
That's broke.
Yeah, so that's really broken. And then we have some of the going second / going first cards. So I was originally playing 3 talents. Jeremy told me it was a little redundant. So I went down to 2 talents and 2 tactics. Thrust. I don't know how I feel about this card. Going second is really good into most boards, but going first, a lot of the times you're just setting your impermanences and some of your Rikka traps if they were hand trapping you a whole bunch. But it's really good going second. Same thing with talents. And then the last card I played was Book of Eclipse. So I just didn't want to auto lose to my opponent just making a crazy big board, and this card also had some utilization of me going first against cash. It can slow the match down enough to where I can catch back up and play. I don't know if I'll play it going forward. I'm just really weighing my options for the YCS to figure out what's the most optimum build. So that's the spell count. And then getting into the traps, you have Rikka sheet. This card is really insane. So what it does is you can activate it, you target a monster on the field, and then you can choose to tribute a monster. If you don't choose to tribute, their opponent can't activate that monster while it's face up on the field. But if you do choose to tribute, you can take control of that monster and it becomes a plant to the end of the turn. So that has a couple of applications. So when you have Conk up, you can take your opponent's monster, tribute it, and then you can tribute another monster they have, take their monster, and then because you have that, which card is it? Sorry, I'm gonna show it to you. Can't remember all the names. Princess, you can then tribute you can use Princess to tribute that monster so they don't get it back instead of using your own monster. So I think that card is really good. I might play 2 of this card. I was talking to a player. He was at the top tables until round 7 and he plays 2. Okay. And then evenly. I think almost every deck should be main deck and evenly matched.
Evenly is so important right now.
Going second, every deck is trying to break your board. The crackback is good. If your opponent goes first, overextends, you can punish them. And again, I wanted to be very generic and have some type of application against every matchup. Impermanence allows me to do that. I can set it versus trap decks. I can go first or second. I can set it off thrust. Just wanted to be able to play at most levels of the game. So it's a 49 card deck. I'm very much known for just putting cards.
Random numbers.
Yeah, I'm very much known for just playing to something feels well. But there is, I guess, science behind the madness. For one, I wanted to have versatility coming into it, as well as space my deck out. And the math still makes sense. The math still math if it was 40 cards. Now here goes the side deck. The side deck is horrible. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just kind of start putting cards in towards the end.
With a horrible side deck.
So I played 1 Pinkertops. I couldn't find any 1 card to put in. But in theory, it's good against almost every matchup my deck struggles against. So even against cash, it can 2 for 1. It can make the banish go back quicker. So I can start tributing their cards. Back row is good. So in theory, it's good, but I don't know if I would play it going forward. Love-hate relationship with this card. I put this in against majority of matchups because my deck doesn't lose to macro pass, essentially. I put this in every time because I want them to end on that. If they don't, they get punished and play into it. I also put this in against branded. If they don't open a particular hand and they want to stop me from playing, they have to play into this card. So that's why I played that card. The only drawback to this card, which is why I think this card is good as well, is that if this is on the field, it does shut off some of my plays in my deck because I only can control plant monsters that do certain combos. Cosmic, I'm gonna be honest, this was for Ilya's deck. This is the only thing that I had in my deck that was dedicated to his deck. The field spell is broken, as well as has back row applications. And then I guess in theory it'd come up in the mirror match. And then we have Lightning Storm. I just knew where I was going. I knew it was going to be a bunch of back row. Again, more for the back row. And then shout out to Jeremy Mitchell on this one. He told me to play this card, this card, this card, and this card. I was originally playing D-Barrier. I felt as though D-Barrier was not that good of a card. It just didn't do enough, and my board was so fortified that I just wanted to stop board breakers. This won me about 4 or 5 games. I sacked so many people with this card. It allowed me to look in their hand, know how my crackback was going to be, take their most important card out, and just, you know, continue to play. Most of this would stay the same. I think this would change, and I don't know if I like Lightning Storm. I have to figure that part out. But my deck does struggle with back row decks. And then on to the extra deck. So this is the heart and soul of the deck. It's Dryas. So if you use it making a low-key Sunseed in that extra monster zone, you can search a Sunvine Spell or Trap card. Excuse me, that is not a hard once per turn. So you can make him multiple times and then get multiple searches. So there's the other build where you can grab an extender, you can grab the other trap, you can just do so much more. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, if I should build my deck around this or not. Then you have the Sunvine Healer. Part of the reason why my deck is super good in the time. It allows me to gain 300, 900, and if I go through the whole combo, I can summon this multiple times, and I can end up gaining about, I think, 2,300 life. Ooh. So this is where I misplayed at against a Sprite player. I was freehanding a combo today and realized that I could have brought this back a couple times, and I could have made the difference of our life points. I'm cutting this card. So in theory, the Thrasher was supposed to be there to do extra damage. So the other part to this guy's effect, they can't necessarily attack him, but it doesn't stop him from attacking directly. Anytime I take damage, I can summon one of these guys from my deck. So on my opponent's turn, if they hand trap me enough and I hand trap them back, they'll do a little damage, and I can full combo almost next turn again. But I'm gonna bring space for something else. Speaking of that, this is the card I made bump up to 3, Jasmine. Intricate part of the combo. It does a couple of different things. If my life points are higher, the arrows it's pointing to can't be destroyed by battle. If I gain life points, I can search. That is not a hard once per turn. So again, during the combo, I can bring this back multiple times, and I can get 4 searchers throughout my deck. The other part to this really broken is a lone fire effect by tributing, which triggers some of my extra deck cards to special summon a plant monster. Really, really broken. I don't know how to pronounce this, Melius, if I said that correct. So this card could theoretically be at 1 since I don't play the full combo. I just thought that if I wasn't able to get to this card late game, it became good because I can get to it. But essentially, this has a couple of different effects. The first, most important, it lets me special summon the Sunseed from graveyard to keep link climbing, to get back into some of these cards as well, to keep extending. The other part is I can target, so if I had it linked like co-linked like this, I can target this card and it can attack 3 times.
Holy cow.
So I used the second effect one time to OTK my opponent, which was really, really insane. And then getting into some of the XYZs, there's an argument for Stratna to be at 3. This is probably the best card in my extra deck that doesn't start a combo, essentially. But this has 2 effects. I can detach and I can pick up a Rikka card from my graveyard or a plant monster and add it to hand. So I can grind really heavily. And then if it's tributed while it has an XYZ material, I'm able to special summon one of these. So this card here is not usually summonable unless you're using off Stratton, the Hyperion. But what it allows you to do is if you combo correctly during your turn, you can put a spell underneath it or a trap underneath it, and you can stop your opponent from being able to use spell or trap cards during their turn. You can have 1 negate. But usually it's just a monster negate if you didn't open well enough. This card is really good against Castir. So again, I can actually hard make this, but what it does is it has 2 effects. First effect is I can detach and tribute one of my opponent cards. So when they go to summon Fenrir, tribute. When you go to make a Rise Heart pass, tribute. And then it gains 200 attack for doing so. So that's pretty much the deck profile. After playing, I definitely want to change my tech cards. And then I do want to change the extra deck. Like I said, I'm gonna go through a couple different variants. as well as I may change what the one card combo can achieve. That's pretty much everything. Any questions for me, Roberto?
Yeah, so a couple questions. One is, for any players that want to play the deck, what suggestions would you make to them? Is there like a limit of cards they should play in the deck, or is it,
No. My suggestion would be to try out everything. So when I first started playing this deck, they told me certain cards were bad, but actual testing with the deck, like the Therion engine, I realized is really good and it allows you to reserve some of your board presence. Because quite frankly, you can end with a Therion Pass, the Stratna, with Conk up, and Princess in hand or engrave, and most people can't beat it. That's up to like, that's 4 or 5 interruptions, right? So I would definitely tell them that. Secondly, I would tell them to practice their technical play. I made 60 mistakes with the deck. But the deck was so good, it allowed me to get back into the game or never lose control of the game. That's the other thing I would say, is just really practice the combos, practice the interactions, and be very creative with the deck. That would probably be my suggestion.
And y'all heard it from Bradley, guys. Like you said, he's only been playing it a week. So imagine if he knew everything he knew now, he would have went undefeated.
Yeah, I would have probably at least had a chance to be able to play Ilya, and that would have been a nice matchup.
That would have been
from
beautiful.
locals.
Yeah, 2 locals. And shout out to Ilya, finished first place. Bradley 4th, Jeremy 7th. Chris got 9. 6. Oh, 6.
Yeah, Jeremy got 6.
And then another local got 9th. So, Jacksonville showed out. And a couple more too did good.
I will say they're going to see a lot more of Jacksonville. That's a promise. We've been kind of dormant lately, but we do have a lot of talent here. And I do want to do some shout outs. I want to shout out my team, my brother Tino, Jeremy, Quinn, Romeo, Barber, G, just all of Jacksonville. It's too much. We're really like a family.
A huge family here.
And then I wouldn't mind doing some combos for you, Roberto, if you want to see the combos in another video, just so you can get kind of my grasp with the deck, where I'm at now, and then you can grasp it a little bit later. Still trying to debate if I want to go to the YCS, but what YCS 250, you'll definitely see me at Philly.
All right, guys. So that's Bradley Wallace, 4th place finish at Kissimmee. And that's out. We're going to do some combos for you guys later on, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto.
Yo.